Many in history have failed at conquering Russia. Even the best of generals, the best of armies, and the best equipment stand no match for Mother Russia's cold whips. But that does not come without sacrifice. Never had the Russians suffered more in any invasion than when Nazi Germany decided to march on Moscow. Hello and welcome. Today we'll be talking about the 4 worst things that happened during Operation Barbarossa. Number 4. German treatment of prisoners of war. Prior to the conflict, Hitler issued the infamous Commissar Order, which ordered that any Soviet political commissars taken prisoner at the front be executed instantly and without trial. German troops engaged in these mass executions together with members of the SS, sometimes grudgingly claiming military necessity. On the eve of the invasion, German soldiers were warned that their struggle demands brutal and forceful measures against Bolshevik inciters, guerrillas, saboteurs, Jews, and the complete extermination of all active and passive opposition. Collective punishment was approved in response to partisan attacks. If a culprit could not be located immediately, burning villages and mass murders were deemed appropriate retaliation. Although the bulk of German soldiers rationalized the murders based on Nazi propaganda depicting the Red Army as Untermensch, which translates as racially inferior, a few famous German officers openly denounced them. During Barbarossa alone, an estimated 2 million Soviet prisoners of war perished from famine. By the conclusion of the war, 58% of all Soviet POWs had perished in German custody. Number 3. The killing of Jews and other races. During World War II, the German invasion of the Soviet Union brought with it a wave of atrocities against the civilian population. The German police and military forces, as well as local collaborators, committed massive atrocities, especially against women and children. The Einsatzgruppen assassination squads, led by the Reich Security Main Office, carried out large-scale killings of Jews and communists in occupied Soviet territory. Holocaust historian Raoul Hilberg estimates that these mobile death operations killed 1.4 million Jews. The orders for these killings began with Jews in party and state posts, but soon expanded to include all male Jews of military age, and subsequently to all male Jews regardless of age. By the end of July, Germans were routinely murdering women and children. Turkmen were also targeted as part of Nazi policy towards what they considered inferior Asian peoples. According to Prince Veli Kajum Khan's post-war account, they were imprisoned in concentration camps in deplorable conditions, where individuals thought to have Mongolian traits were slaughtered on a regular basis. These atrocities committed by the German forces during World War II are a tragic and horrific aspect of the conflict. Number 2. Stalin's scorched earth policy. In the face of the German invasion of the Soviet Union during World War II, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin issued a call to arms to the Red Army, the Red Navy, and all Soviet citizens. He urged them to defend every inch of Soviet soil and fight to the last drop of blood for their cities and villages. Stalin also called for the implementation of a scorched earth policy, in which anything that could be of use to the invading German army would be destroyed. This included not only military equipment and supplies, but also food, livestock, and entire villages and cities. If Red Army forces were forced to flee, all rolling equipment was to be evacuated, and nothing was to be left for the enemy. Stalin also called for the creation of partisan troops who would engage in guerrilla warfare and sabotage enemy operations in occupied territories. The goal was to make conditions in occupied areas unbearable for the enemy and to pursue and exterminate them at every turn. Stalin's call to arms and scorched earth policy were a rallying cry for the Soviet people and played a crucial role in the eventual defeat of the German army. The Red Army, the Red Navy, and all Soviet citizens stood strong and fought with boldness, initiative, and mental alertness, ultimately achieving victory for the Soviet Union. Number 1. Siege of Leningrad. Leningrad residents were subjected to intense bombing and a siege that would last 872 days and kill over 1 million people, including about 400,000 children under the age of 14. The German-Finnish blockade cut off access to food, fuel, and raw materials, and non-working population rations fell to 4 ounces or 5 thin slices of bread and a little watery soup per day. Starving Soviet people began eating their household animals, as well as hair tonic and Vaseline. Some desperate locals resorted to cannibalism. According to Soviet statistics, 2,000 persons were jailed during the siege for the use of human meat as nourishment, 886 of them during their first winter of 1941 to 42. The Wehrmacht intended to blockade Leningrad, starving the populace and ultimately destroying the city. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel on your way out. See you all next time. Until then, goodbye.